It's me, Frank, from the London side. So you'll notice that JD is absent, but when you come from a big Italian family, uh, especially in the summer, you've got 9 million graduations and probably the same amount of birthdays. So, so I've given JD the evening off, and I am going to have a chat with actor, director, writer, producer Michelle Bonilla, and I think you guys might know her from her 170 acting and voiceover credits, and writing and producing credits. She has been on everything from NCIS New Orleans to Castle to General Hospital, to Jane the Virgin. I mean, honestly, any number of shows she's had a guest role on. And I first spotted her, oh gosh, eons ago on ER. So she was Dr. Carrie Weaver's girlfriend. She was a EMT. And I remember because it was so long ago and there was so little lesbian representation, let alone on a regular network television show. So I just remember being, like just in awe, of someone being, first of all, that brave, but she's an out lesbian actress, and she's had a career that's like now spanning like 29 years. So I thought it would be super cool to have her on the show. She has a new short film that's coming out, and I don't know if you follow along with all our shows, but we had Dana Goldberg on, and who is a comedian and presenter, host, and Dana told us that she had this bit part in Michelle's short film. So weird, but as JD and Joni would say, 6 degrees of Denise. So we managed to connect in this weird way. But I've like been a fan of Michelle's forever. So anyways, we're gonna have a chat with Michelle, and I am not gonna talk about my bad haircut, wearing a hat until it grows out. No big deal. As you can see, one side's a little thicker than the other side. Whatever. We're just not gonna have it. I've got Jack and Coke with my big giant ice cube. And yeah, it feels weird to be here by myself, just waiting on Michelle, who, by the way, is in LA. So it'll be like 11 a.m. there, 2 p.m. here. Weird. No, sorry, 7 p.m. here, which is strange because I don't remember the last time I've done one of these during the day. So fingers crossed we don't, have a backyard issue or anything. But yeah, so I'm super excited about this. I'm super excited by the fact that like we're something like 38 shows in, 37 shows in, and we're having a really good time doing it. And we've had some amazing guests. Like, I gotta say, like, I'm super proud of the guests that we're getting. Dana, Suzanne Westenhofer, Dan Renzi. We've had JD's old dive bar singing partner, Judy, who is our mixologist Tyler's mom, on the show last week. But we've had Sandra Valls. I mean, we're rocking it out. We had Laurie Michaels. We had Scottish singing icon Horse. So we've been super blessed, to be kicking off. We're so relatively new, so few followers on all of our social media platforms and whatnot, but we're getting there, and that's the super important thing. We are totally getting there. And however long it takes, we just want to have some fun and kind of shine a light on some positivity within our community, the LGBTQIA W, X, Y, and Z community, Um, so I'm hoping that we're doing that. And we're all inclusive. Like we've had Tyler, straight cis male, our house mixologist, adorable. We love him. So we're all inclusive. You don't have to be gay or straight. Doesn't matter what you are. Just hang out with us. We're having a super good time. And I also want to mention JD's got some a cool gig coming up in Davie. That is like a 4th of July thing in Davie, and going to be around country music theme, which is so cool. And we don't talk about it often, but if you guys want to go just listen to JD endlessly, you can go to jddanner.com and all her music is there. You can hear her old stuff, her new stuff, the latest stuff that she's done. And oddly enough, this is the first show probably in, I don't know, weeks that we haven't mentioned Janice Ian. That's for JD. Yeah, so if you're in South Florida, you get to, see her live. But if you just want to listen to some of her tracks, jddanner.com, super simple. And a quick rundown of our socials. On Twitter, we are at whiskey_pod. On Instagram, we are Whiskey Rock Lounge. And on Facebook, we are at facebook.com/The Whiskey Rock Lounge. So you can find us on all forms of social. You can follow us, all over the place. And we always tweet links to the show. We let you know who's coming up. We let you know, that we upload our new shows on Sundays, which is awesome. So, that's our deal. Hopefully, you spread the word, tell a friend, make a friend, tell a friend, that kind of thing. It's a cool thing to talk about the latest podcast. I don't listen to a lot because I'm like doing stuff, usually have the TV on or whatever, but there's some really good podcasts out there. We follow a lot on Twitter. We encourage you to listen to other people. We try and be supportive of other shows. But if you know somebody that's got a podcast that wants to come on our show and talk about it, well, by all means, man, tell them to contact us. Send an email, thewhiskeyrocklounge@gmail.com, and we'll see about getting them on the show. We've got some cool people coming up. We've got British singer and actor, all around artist, creator, Miri, coming on at the end of June. That's super exciting. We also have some friends that have a swimwear line and a boudoir line for lesbians that are coming on. Again, also exciting. And then we have Tyler next week. He's back. I don't know if you missed him in May, but we gave him the month of May off. So he'll be joining us. And that's the coolest thing ever. He said he's got a Father's Day drink, which I'm quite interested, because I figured most dads just want a beer, but some are classier than others. So Tyler is going to have a Father's Day drink for us, because I think Father's Day over there, June 20th, which, mental note, send your dad a gift. Don't forget to call. Yeah, so we got good stuff coming up. Got good stuff coming on. I recently I just started binging on a show called Fresh, Fried, and Crispy on Netflix, and I'm absolutely obsessed with Dame Drops. He's the host. He's got such fantastic personality, and he just goes all over the map and tries out different foods, mostly fried. I am learning that you can literally fry anything. But he was in Baltimore, and there was this super cool guy that was showing him around, whose name was Chino. And he also is known as the blue-bearded foodie, the Baltimore blue-bearded foodie. And he was just as interesting as the host. So I looked him up and I followed him on Twitter, and I reached out to him to see if he wants to be on the show. He was, he was super cool. Like he, said like, go ahead and DM me, so I'm sent out some dates and hopefully we'll have him in July because I think he's got a lot of cool stuff to talk about. And I'm super excited about I felt like so ballsy. Like I'm watching this show and I'm like, see what I could do here, and just tweeted and got a response. So that's just the coolest kind of stuff. Like when people respond and engage, they know that you're interested, and then you want to get them interested in what you're doing. So it's a nice cross promotion kind of thing. So if you haven't noticed, I am totally killing time until Michelle gets here. I'm hoping she remembered. We were supposed to do this yesterday, but she got a gig. So we pushed it to today, and I'm thinking, there she is. She remembered.
Hi, Denise.
Michelle, so good to finally meet you.
Nice to meet you too. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I was dying there a little bit. I was just babbling away, but I was kind of telling our viewers that I'm so excited to have you. Like first of all, this is going to sound super gushy and stupid, but I'm just going to get it out of the way. Like back in the day, like I first noticed you on ER.
Uh-huh.
At that time, there was not a lot of lesbians, let alone on a network television show. So I was like honed in.
Yeah.
I was super excited. But I've actually been following your career like since then. Like that put you on the map for me.
Thanks.
And I am always so excited when I'm watching a show like Castle or NCIS. I'm like, oh. So it's super great to have you here. And I know I mentioned it in an email, but I didn't know that we had Dana Goldberg in common.
Oh yeah, I love Dana. Dana's a great gal.
We have done. I used to live in South Florida. Now I'm here in London, and we did a gig down in Key West called Women's Fest, and Dana was one of the comedians that was on the bill for that. And we were hosting pool parties in my last podcast. So me and my co-host were hosting pool parties, and we were working with Dana, and we had such a blast with her, and we've been friends ever since. And then I moved to London, and I'm not here a month, and Dana's in London doing something. and it was just like, what is even happening? Are you following me across the world? So yeah, we do. We have a great time with her. We would have her on our podcast a million times back in the day when I was in South Florida, and she's just the coolest. You could just like message her and be like, are you free Wednesday? And jump right in. Mm-hmm. So that's great. I did not know that she was in your short film either. So that came out when she was on our show, and I was just like, oh my God, this is weird the way it's all connecting. So this is fantastic. I love the fact that you had to reschedule because you got a gig.
Yes, I did.
I mean, we haven't heard those words in a really long time. Lockdown and everything else. Like, I got a gig. It's like, you know what? Do what you got to do.
Yeah, so I mean, and it's interesting because sometimes it happens really quickly. Like, I mean, it's like not only did I have a gig, I was fortunate enough I had to do a callback for this other gig. And now I'm a hold for that gig. So I actually worked one thing. I can't talk about it too much, but I'm here in the States. I'm an announcer for a new something that I can't even talk about. But so I had to like go, yes, thank you, and get there. So. Oh
my God.
Yeah.
That's
so
cool.
Mm-hmm.
It really means everything's opening back up. We're starting to get back to normal a little bit. Like for you guys, we've got one more phase to go over here.
Really? I thought you guys were more open than we were.
No, we were locked down hard until like April. Yeah, like hard lockdown until April. But now we're doing it in 5-week increments. So they review the data and
Mhm,
say what the
mhm,
next
mhm.
level of things that are opening. So, it's crazy. But yeah, you guys, it seems like things are slowly getting back to
Yeah,
normal. Yeah.
definitely in terms of starting to get out. But no, I don't know about you. Well, it's different where you are, but I've been experiencing, we've been inside for so long. I think last weekend I had my I'm gonna go get together with a friend on this day, and I'm gonna go to, there's something here called Descanso Gardens, a beautiful gardens, and walk the grounds with another friend. And then the next day I went and had coffee with another friend. And by Sunday afternoon, I was so exhausted. I'm like, I have to do this slowly. I
Yeah.
have to reintegrate myself in society slowly.
Yes.
This is just like, I was like, weekend warrior socialite, and it really bit me in the behind, So
Right.
I was like, oh my God,
Cramming
this
it
is too
in.
exhausting.
Right.
So I mean, learning to incorporate that. But for me, I mean, in terms of the pandemic, I during the whole thing, I was really lucky because I also do as voiceovers.
Right.
So I have, I was able to work from home. In fact, I was hustling and trying to, auditioning a lot,
Yeah.
working
That's
during the
fortunate.
lockdown. And
Did
it's,
you do it from home?
and actually I did a couple of commercials as well. And here in the States, like there was one state, Utah, that was on red alert. And I booked a commercial, a national commercial. Actually, it's playing now. It's for here in the States. It's for military recruitment. This commercial called Jammers. It forgot what Jammers stands for, but it's military. It's for recruiting.
Oh,
And
excellent.
it's playing now, but had to fly from Los Angeles into Utah and shoot, and so that was like a 2-week shoot. So yeah, I'm just lucky to be able to do that. And then I had this other at the beginning, like last September, but still in definite COVID territory. I shot another commercial for this. I think you guys have this back in London. AstraZeneca has
Yes,
a inhaler called Breztri.
oh, okay. Right, right. Yeah.
And that
AstraZeneca is very
actually,
big over here. That
yeah,
was the
so,
shot I got.
yeah. And so I did a commercial for that. So I have 2 commercials running right now. And I think it is probably maybe running in London, maybe some ad campaigns.
Ooh, I have to keep my eye out now that I'm out and
Yeah.
about a little bit. It's, television over here it's super strange. Like they have entire channels that are devoted to like CBS dramas.
Uh-huh.
So it's just the CBS drama channel, and it'll be stuff from like CSI Miami. I mean, like
You
old
guys must have a
stuff.
lot of my Dr. Quinn medicine woman's airing over there.
We do. We do. I didn't know you were on that. Now I'm gonna start watching. We do. We have a Paramount channel that plays Heart to Heart, Charlie's Angels, and Nash Bridges, which is just like it's just like one era to the next era to the next
I
era.
did a Nash Bridges too.
I heard they're making a movie. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing over here. They're a little bit behind, but the stuff that's current is the stuff that's big in the States. But we always have to wait until the season over there ends before ours starts.
Sure.
And if you're on social media, every spoiler is blown. You know everything that happens, and then you're just waiting for it to come back. Like I watch all the Chicago's. So I'm well aware of everything that's happened this season, and now we're just waiting to get it. But because of social media and I see it, I probably should just unfollow all that kind of stuff. But you know, can't really be a fan if you're not following. So what I did notice on social media was that you made a short film
Yes.
in the middle of a pandemic.
In middle of a pandemic. Well, just a little backstory about that. I mean, my short is called I Just Wish You Told Me. And it's the second project that I've written and starred in and produced. But this is the first time I directed my own project, which I really am excited about. Yes. And it's based on a little bit of reality. 5 years ago, my partner passed away. And yes, and the situation was so huge, I mean, for me, that typically my MO is that if something huge happens in my life, well, I have to write about it. So yeah. So I wrote about it. After the unexpected death of her partner, a woman struggles to come to terms with the truth about the unforgivable secrets revealed in their 13-year relationship that were unforgivably never told. So it's about literally, I just wish you told me about some secrets that had my character, Jessie, known, could have prevented her from passing away. And I love this idea. You know, when I did Slipaway back in the day, which is actually Slipaway is good too. When I got involved with an addict alcoholic back in the day, it was so crazy. I had to write about it. And Slipaway, I wrote Slipaway, and that's my first foray into filmmaking. That is actually playing in the UK. I think you could see it. You rent it on Amazon, but it's about that relationship and how that unfolded, and how, you know, the protagonist chose themselves over the addict alcoholic, as hard as that was.
Yeah.
And so with this project, I just wish you told me. I mean, I always like to keep people thinking and questioning their own relationships and their own choices. And the same with this project. I really wanted to, at the end of it, to have people, whether they're gay or straight, to be able to talk to their partners about the hard issues that they may be facing alone. And I don't know about you, but it's like typically, I mean, things have maybe changed a little bit now, but, you know, I found in the past that, you know, people could be in lesbian relationships or in gay relationships, and there's no real commitment to it. They're committed to a certain extent, but I'm not really going to tell you about me, even though we've been partnered for a really long time.
Right.
And they're this sort of secret. Yeah. There's not a real commitment, as if you could shake somebody off really quickly.
Right.
And with this story, our characters, Jessie and Karen, Dana plays Karen, my partner, and they've been together for, you know, 13 years, and to not know the truth about that person because of whatever they're experiencing, whether it's fear, whether it's denial, whether it's an uncomfortability to, you know, just express the truth to your partner, that in the end, these things can go horribly wrong. And so it's about how well do you commit to this other person you're really with, you know? And so I always like to bring that question up, and I would hope that there's a big sense and dialogue exchange between whether, you know, a girlfriend and boyfriend, husband and wife, and wife, you know, husbands and husbands, you know? Because I think it's universal. I think it's universal.
I think you're right. Yeah. I think, you know, my wife and I met through my first podcast. So she was listening to the podcast in Australia, you know, while we were doing it in Florida. So, and we were very open. Like sometimes I'll go back and listen to a show from like 2006 and be like, oh my God, I can't believe we said those things. You know, like we wouldn't say those things now, you know. But so my wife was listening in Australia and had called in a couple of times and emailed a couple of times, and we became email buddies. And then I actually gave her a segment on the show because she asked me and my co-host like the coolest questions that would spawn conversation in our chat room and stuff. And everybody could answer the questions that she was asking us. Yeah, so she used to write in and ask us really cool questions, and they would spawn conversation in our chat room and everything. Like there were questions everybody would like to answer, like what was your favorite lunchbox when you were in school? What were your favorite pajamas? You know, what's your coolest outfit when you're going to go out to a club? Like stuff like that. And we could all answer it. So I made her do this like every week. And so we would email every week. So for 3 years we had this like email, you know, relationship. And then she came to Miami and, you know, we had met up, and you know, that was how we got together. So we did the long distance thing and then agreed on London. But I think because it was long distance, we spent so many hours on the phone or video chatting. And I am like an open book, like I have no secrets. So I was like pretty much like telling, just spilling it. And I think part of what made me think about what you said is that my parents weren't like that, and my dad died very young. He was like 43. And like you said, I would meet someone 5 years, after he had passed away. And because I looked so much like him, they could just come up to me and be like, hey, are you Lenny's daughter? And I'd be like, yeah. And they would have a story that, I mean, thankfully they weren't ever horrible, but they were things that I thought, well, why wouldn't he have said that? They, like, one of them was like telling me that he played baseball with my dad in the minor leagues. And he was like, I still can't believe your dad turned down, playing for the Pittsburgh Pirates. And I'm like,
and you're like, what?
Yeah, like
What?
that kind of thing. Like that could have changed the trajectory of our lives. But so I was just like, wow. But yeah, you're right. I think, and I do think a lot of the times, and I'm not making an excuse for it, but I feel like people hold back things because they feel like they're protecting their partner.
Yes.
And it's kind of like,
and it's a misnomer, and a lot of a great byproduct of this is that sometimes people, especially in instances of the worst case scenario like death, right?
Yeah.
You don't really know what happens to that other person. You don't, you're just kind of dropped off. Like you'll have people talking to you for a little while, and then people, especially for me, for example, we had a lot of we had friends who were couples,
right?
Because we were a couple.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to see how these people naturally go on. No, nothing, it's just normal that they go on.
Nothing happened.
Kind of,
they just,
you're just kind of left there, and in my instance, it's like basically a widow, going through grief or whatever. But how do, especially in the instance of I just wish you told me, what is the immediate aftermath of that, and how is the unfolding of that,
right?
And what is left to that person with that? I mean, I could only the film is about, it's 15 and a half minutes long, so it could only capture so much. And I actually like I love the short form, I love that. It's so impactful. I think short form is an incredible form. I think for this story, it would have lost its trajectory and impact, especially with the criteria that we're talking about in the theme of the film, to have that short and sweet of, wow, this is what this person is left with. Even though, and I think you're absolutely right, you think that you're protecting someone by not telling them, but almost the opposite is true, because you sort of disarm them, the very people who you've chosen to come into a relationship with to protect you, right? To come home and stock up and, make sure that no one's storming the castle together, right? Like your confidant, your partner,
Yeah.
And then you turn around and you're like, I've been disarmed from the inside.
Right.
And so it's sort of, you were usurped
without. And where do you go with it? Where do you go with it when that person's gone? It's like, it's just sitting with you. Yeah.
Right. And that's exactly what we see my character, Jesse, sort of unravel, how all of this, how could this happen sort of thing, So, I mean, it was a really wonderful experience. We did shoot in COVID. I started really writing it and formulating it in January. It's so great. I have a picture of me in January, at my computer, starting it. And in December, we were filming it,
God. Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Yes.
And I did look at, because there's an actual feed for it on Instagram, and I was reading up on some of the people that were behind the scenes. And you got some great talent working with you. Everybody from your AD to your editor.
Yes.
Awesome. Oh, my cat might make an appearance. Unbelievable.
That's okay. My dog wanted to make one. I said, you can go sit down right there.
I wish cats would listen like a dog. They just Nothing. And she's little too. She's only 2 years old. So she has, no training. She's still got that in that wild phase. But I think now, so you film it, you got a great team of people. And it's finished, right? I read that it's finished.
Yes, it's absolutely finished. So
Where
happy
does it
about
go
that.
from here? Do you try and enter it into festivals? And
That's exactly what I'm doing now. So we entered it into a slew of film festivals, and we have it has already won a best cinematography at the Toronto Women's International Film
Oh,
Festival.
that's a biggie. Wow.
And if it were just 2 days away, I could tell you another festival that we got into, but I can't. It's a big one in the United States, but I can't, unfortunately. But
I want to just take a little stab here and go by your expression, but not Outfest.
I can't say anything about that. I don't know about that, but I really don't. But
that's exciting though. That's great.
Yes, I mean, Outfest is certainly one of the festivals. Slipaway was we were honored enough to have Slipaway screen at Outfest.
Yeah,
back in the day, and so I'm hoping that we actually have. I just wish you told me. It would be I'm from LA. I love Outfest. It would be great.
It's like the home team. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Sundance, the other biggie.
Yeah.
That's another good one.
Yeah. But yeah, I was so happy. I have, Juliet Jeffers in here, Jennifer Christopher, Elizabeth Pan, Dennis Mencia, Susie Geiser, and then of course Dana, who are all brave enough to help come and shoot. No one got sick, which was incredible, which was, we had the best COVID officer, my co-producer, we were, just worked really hard to get that, all of that done. And we did it in 4 days and made some magic. I mean, and a really skeleton crew because because you couldn't have anyone else. I mean, we really it's like people were like, my producer even stepped in and was like an extra in one of the scenes.
It is amazing the way people pull together.
Yeah.
But
the trooper.
It just means they believed in the project too, which is really testament to you and the script and whatnot. The funny thing is like I had Jill Bennett on the show, and her wife got selected to do a Hyundai commercial, that had a LGBT theme to it. And she wrote, and directed it and whatnot. And so Jill and I were talking about it, and she was saying that she's doing online classes and whatnot. And as we're talking, I'm thinking to myself, I have ate and drank and Netflix my way through this lockdown. And these guys were like projects and filming. And Kristen Baker, I had Kristen on. She made like an entire holiday film during the pandemic. I'm like, wow. I really could have made better use of my time. Wow.
You know what? It's all good. I mean, it's all good.
Yeah, no, honestly, like
everybody did what they had to do, but yeah, we Hollywood types are very interesting.
keep it shaking. I'm stunned, but it's fantastic because one of my fears was like especially last year when things were getting canceled left and right, like galas and fundraisers and things that are so important to community centers and ongoing pride festivities and all that kind of stuff. Everything was just canceled. So then me binging away on Netflix, like every lesbian gay show and everything there is, I'm like, there's not going to be any of these next year. Like that was, I thought there's not, but look at you guys putting your content, getting it together, getting things done, making sure that we're not without. And that's like, I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful.
Yay.
Man, yeah, that's huge. So you can't tell us where it's going to be, but we know that we can keep an eye out. Not like we know to look for it, and we can follow along on Instagram too and see what's happening with it. So that's
the handle is at I Just Wish You Told Me Film.
It's, yeah,
So,
I can't wait. I'm really, really, really looking forward to it. And
yes, thank you.
I don't want to take up any more of your time, but I do want to tell you that I am grateful and thankful for having, more and more content, and being out and being visible, and the work that you're doing is fantastic.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's important to me too. And it's important for me. I mean, not only does representation matter, but I really am a big stickler for context matters, how we're displayed and how we're portrayed.
Right.
And one big thing for me is, to just have characters who happen to be gay or lesbian live in a circumstance, and not necessarily have to, you don't have to judge ourselves into, hey, I'm a lesbian.
Right.
It's just like,
Dress like this.
I think that's important
It really
to
is.
have, especially for me. I grew up in Los Angeles. The only thing we could afford was a television, and the only thing I could see, I did not see myself represented. So it's a big deal to
It's huge.
see people of color, Latin people who also play lesbian or gay characters, transgender characters.
Yeah.
I think that's a really big, just to have them live in a situation and not necessarily knock people over the head with their sexuality.
Yeah, just slip us in. We're just normal folks. Just slip us right in.
Because that, I think,
happens.
I believe that's an equally powerful statement. And if
Normal,
yeah, I like to make content like that, and I really hope that I'll be able to do more of it. I'm stepping in on the director's helm more, and
now you got that under your belt. Like, geez, I love it. All the avenues are open for. That's fantastic. It's great. It's really, like I said, I think when I watched ER, that was one of the first times that I saw on a regular net. You didn't have to go to a cable channel, and it didn't feel like dark and dirty. It was just, hey, she happens to be a lesbian. She happens to be a lesbian, and it was just so normal and natural. It wasn't a huge deal, and I think that's what it just felt relatable for the first time, and it was
context.
Yeah, again, so relatable. People talk about the L word and everything being groundbreaking, queer as folk being groundbreaking, and that's all well and good, but there weren't many chubby, sweaty lesbians in the L word. So I was like, I'm watching, I'm liking it. I don't see myself. So it is like just a matter.
I mean, it's important, isn't it? It's important to identify and to pull yourself up out of that, and be able to say, there I am, and not a weird, there's just me doing this and this. I feel relatable, I feel like I can relate. And I think, especially in television, that's the power of television.
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. It opens you up to all new. This is going to sound real. I feel like this is a confession, but I never watched RuPaul's Drag Race. And then here we are in lockdown, and my wife watches it like every weekend morning. But she does it before I wake up because she thinks I'm not going to like it, because I get very intimidated by the campy. So she was watching it. So I was, came down one morning and I'm like watching it and everything. And I'm like, that's funny. I like this. This is good. And binging 13 seasons of it. So it's like,
they suck you in.
It sucked me in hard, man. 13 seasons of it. And all of a sudden I was doing this kind of stuff while I was making dinner. And, it was like, I wasn't nervous. I wasn't afraid of it. I wasn't intimidated anymore. It was like, it's opened my mind. So these things matter. You're so right. And we will leave it at that. It was fantastic having you on. I'm so glad you were able to do it. We'll be following.
Yes, and if anyone wants, you got they can follow me on Instagram at the Michelle C. Bonilla, or on Twitter at the MC Bonilla. Or my website still exists. What's that website? MichelleCBonilla.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great afternoon.
Denise.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.